walked into the office, full three-piece suit, and I got shot by a lot of Nerf guns from the whole entire GM team.
What's up, friend? Today I'm proud to present to you the interview with GM Endlaive, who started his journey with BDO as a player, joined one of the top siege guilds of EU, and then became a game master for Black Desert. Kakao hasn't really done many interviews since the Wiggles one back in 2017, so big shout out to all the people at Kakao that allowed this to happen. And please subscribe to the channel to support this type of content. I hope you enjoy the interview, and as always, you will find the timestamps in the description. So, for all the people that do not know you, can you introduce yourself and how you got into Black Desert?
So, my name is Endlaive, or known in the Black Desert community as GM Endlaive. I became a GM in February last year, and I started playing BDO, pre-launch. So I got it pre-launch. I played it for probably say like a few months before I didn't really know my way around it, and I didn't really understand the game compared to say other MMOs prior to that. So before that, I played RuneScape quite a lot, Guild Wars, original Guild Wars, Final Fantasy, Guild Wars 2. Tried a little bit of a while, but I didn't really like it that much. Preferred Final Fantasy. And then I saw a lot of sort of content that was put on YouTube for Black Desert before it came to the West, and it looked so good for me. The graphics was stunning. The combat was super interesting, going away from a tab target system, which I was super used to from Final Fantasy and RuneScape. So for me, that's kind of, I did have a somewhat extensive MMO background. There's a lot of different things I tried, like Alods and Terra and loads of different kind of other MMOs as well, just trying to kind of find my place, I guess. And then I got back into BDO. I kept like coming back to it because it was very sandboxy to me. So I was so used to like the theme park, do the quests, do the dungeons, etc. So I couldn't find anything that hooked me until I found a guild. It was a really awesome guild, community guild, and I stayed in there for quite a long time. Didn't do any PvP, and I was sort of just playing classes for fun at that point. I was just rolling to different classes, leveling up to level 56. It was I think at that time it was like around 58 to 59 was kind of cap. A lot of Sorsons, a lot of Pirate Island as well. And then what definitely got me hooked was actually Mystic launch. That was a class that I stayed on for a very long time. And I think outside of being a GM, that's what people sort of knew me for, was my Mystic when I was streaming as just myself. From when I went from my community guild, I then went to my first PvP guild. So the community guild I was in was House of Night. Big shout out to them. Was in there for probably over a year. Then I went to Necrotic because there was some people that I met online and they were big into PvP. And I started getting interested in PvP. So they were a Node War guild at that time, still are, I believe. So I joined them. I think at that point I was 500 gear score. So I just reached 500 gear score. And it was still pre-Super Armor CC changes. So the height of Mystic was still there, even at my gear score. And me being DR as well. So yeah, I was really getting into the PvP sort of scene. I was trying to get a lot better and better at it. I started to get more and more gear. I loved Node Wars at that time. That was the time of medkits. You remember that?
Ah, yeah.
Oh, good times. Medkits just changed the whole state of like the Node War. If you were able to win a fight, you're able to have all you guys up instantly. It was so interesting. Then I saw Siege, and I was like, okay, I want to be there. That looks really, really cool. So I was looking at the different guilds. At this time, I was probably about 530, maybe reaching 540. So I still wasn't what was called soft cap at that time. Doing a lot of Gye-hyun and looking towards Histria. And so yeah, at that point, I joined Leviathan. So I was in Leviathan, made a lot of good friends there. Big shout out to the people in Leviathan at that time. I was really liking the time there. And obviously, Leviathan wasn't stable. Everyone knows that. There's no stability in Leviathan. So, yeah, so I tried that. It was really great. Had a load of fun, a load of really good sieges. So I think my first siege experience actually, for some reason went to Balanos. It was a decent size at that point. It was like a lot of strong people, and they went to Balanos, and we just got zerged by 5 to 6 guilds, and I was like, this is my first siege experience. uh, yeah, it was interesting. I was like, is this what it's always like? So that was an interesting first siege experience. So still playing Mystic at that time, and I was starting to get more and more gear. I then was grinding Histrion, and I was around soft cap at that point, and that's when I put my guide out, I think, and basically shown how strong Mystic can actually be at soft cap and how much trash they can actually pull there. It was pretty insane if you knew the combo and the pulls. And then Leviathan disbanded. So I was like, great. Okay, so where do I go now? And there was 2 guilds that I basically looked at and thought, I want to be in either one of these places, right? There's no other guild that I kind of wanted to join. I think in the height of the siege time, it was Sovereign, Enemy, Resilience, and
Venari?
Gosh, Venari. Yes, Venari. So it was at that point. I think Venari ended up disbanding around that time because I think they just got kicked out of Calphian, and then I don't know what happened. They just disappeared.
Yeah, Venari is one of those guilds like Leviathan.
Right. So yeah, they probably just left the castle and just like, right, it's enough now. So yeah, during my time in Leviathan, I actually made a lot of friends in Enemy, just PvPing around in mansions. Basically, I spent all my time there. So big shout out to those people. They know who they are. And there was, in terms of the people from Leviathan and where they went, a lot of them actually did go to Enemy. And I think only 2 people went to Sovereign. So I actually had way more people that I knew in Enemy, and I did think about joining them. But I don't know what it was. I think it was just the one friend that I had in Levy that actually persuaded me to go for Sovereign instead. And I already kind of thought I wasn't going to get in because my gear score was literally just hit soft cap. I don't think I was going to get in any of these guilds. But apparently I was pretty good back then. And this was post Super Armor CC changes. So I think I was an okay Mystic, but now I'm completely washed up from rerolling too many times.
So you're saying that when Mystic was broken, you were really good, and now that she's nerfed.
So I was a DR Mystic. Everyone was evasion at that point. I was soft cap. So I had to have a pre-trial with one of the most geared Mystics in the guild at that time. I think they were about 40 to 50 gear score over me. I did pretty well against them. And then I secured my actual trial. And yeah, I ended up passing. So I think I was like the lowest gear score member in Sovereign at that point.
So I think here we should mention that at the time you weren't a GM. You were involved with Kakao Games.
No. So
you were a streamer though, right?
Yes. Yeah. So streaming all the time. And then I basically joined Sov at that point. So it was way before I even applied to be a GM. So yeah, so that's kind of basically where I was at. That's basically the journey of the guilds and my gear, the classes at that point.
Mm-hmm. And how do you go from being a player / streamer in one of the top guilds on EU to be a GM of Kakao Games? What's the story?
Basically, I went to America TwitchCon in 2018. So I was already in Sov at that point. And there was a couple of our members actually in the finals against NA with another friend of mine from Enemy who joined. There was kind of like a whole situation there with the teams. No idea what happened there. I went to TwitchCon anyway because I was wanting to basically grow my stream and learn more about it and meet other people, especially on the NA side. I thought it'd be really good to mingle with them a bit, talk to streamers on the NA side, because obviously they were all there because, well, it being in America, it was kind of easier for them. I mean, yeah, they're still traveling like hundreds and hundreds of miles. So, but no, it was really good. Wanted to meet and sort of learn a bit more about the streaming, and also there was some people that I met over there from streaming Final Fantasy back in the day. So yeah, basically then I got the chance to meet the GMs and CMs of Kakao Games. I got talking to them. They seemed really, really awesome, super nice. I didn't actually have much of a run-in with any of them. Like before this point, I actually never made a ticket. I never really went to any GM events, or yeah, I don't think I ever saw a GM like in game personally for me at that point, or had any run-in with them. So this was like the first time I basically talked to the staff, right? And they were, they were really engaging. Like they were enthusiastic, and I could really see that they had a lot of love for the game. And at that point, it really pushed me to sort of want to work for these people or maybe get involved with them. I basically got contact with Imra, who is influencer manager, and I basically said, if there are any jobs going there, can you send me any applications? So yeah, that happened. Then he got back to me. I said, oh yeah, there's some GM roles going, and I was like, Brill, okay. So then I applied for it. I got a message back, and had to do an interview because I was living in the UK at that time, and they're in the Netherlands. The office is in the Netherlands. I had a call with GM Rotaz and the interview there, and there was about, I think, 3 interviews, stages, different stages, talking to different people. I talked about my experience in the game and streaming side, and they were interested in that, and of course that's why I've been doing a lot of streaming for the side of Kakao Games now. Yeah, and I was able to, well, yeah, history speaks for itself. I'm GM now. So I must have done all right in the interview, I guess.
Do you
Yeah.
think your journey as a player in the game help you get the position?
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing about a game and also having passion for a game, I think I portrayed that well. I think I showed that I have a lot of, love for this game, the community, and was really looking to sort of help build and work on it. Like I definitely wanted to bring what I have experienced as a player, as a streamer, and someone that's within a community to help sort of like improve stuff as much as I could, or bring give back as much as I could to the community. That was super important for me. That was something I really wanted to push. Cheesy as it may sound, I do love the game, and the community itself. Like I made a lot of friends there and had a lot of good times on it. So it was kind of an easy option for me to basically apply for this gaming company, because like before that I had no gaming company in quotation marks experience, right? So I've had support experience, and obviously that helped with the job since the role is customer support basically. So yeah, it's I definitely think it helped out. I mean, it definitely helped me out in my work, right? It it makes it very easy. I mean, being having a passion for the game that I work for, right?
What is it that you do exactly at Kakao as a GM?
Right.
What's your role?
So yeah, so basically, the GM team is primarily support. So we basically, once we get tickets in through the system, we answer them and try and help out the players as much as we can. That is the main crux of the team. Now there are different teams within the GM team, right, that we focus on and try to focus on different tasks to basically do more for our community, right? So for me personally, I'm the head of the SNS team, which basically concentrates more on the Discord side of things, as well as my involvement in the Twitch side of things as well, and sort of communicating and gathering sort of feedback and look and see if there's any issues. That's why, I mean, personally, I always check Twitch anyway and come in and say hello just because I enjoy being there and being a part of different communities and hanging out. But it helps me with my work as well as a sort of side gain, I guess. But, so obviously I relay any issues that I may find through there with Reddit and stuff and forums. So that's something I have a lot of involvement in. I'm also a part of our policy council team, which basically we go over the sort of policies that we create for our tickets and how we basically support people. We basically create these policies, which are guidelines. They're not something that we completely follow to the T. We basically use them as a guideline. We always try to aim to help the players as much as possible with these policies that we create without, of course, making it something that's abusable. So we're always trying to find that line of helping the players as much as possible whilst not making it something that's abusable, etc. So that's something I'm a part of as well, as I try to bring that player side element, something that I think is kind of needed within a team like that. It's like, okay, it's like, what do I think the players would like from this, or they would want, and how would it help me if I was a player, or something like that. That's kind of the questions I always think during those meetings, and that's how I try to bring to those policies. So, and there's loads of different teams, like a tech side as well. So there's obviously agents that are more focused on the tech side of trying to help people with different tech related issues. Yeah, we have our hacker hunter team, which I'm not a part of whatsoever. So I don't really know much about that as I'm not a part of it. But of course, everyone's seen that they've been active with the monthly ban waves and stuff. So that's pretty much what I know with that. But yeah, so not every agent is involved with every task force, right? Basically, overall, the GMs is a support team that just primarily focuses on the support of the players. Nothing regarding development side. We don't dictate when a content drop is going to happen, or pushing up those little buttons on making a clash stronger. That's not the GM side at all.
I mean, it's I guess let's move to that. Like, a lot of people, it's not just the GM thing, right? It's Kakao Games in general does not have
Yes.
control, because Kakao is GMs plus CMs and I guess
PMs. Yeah. So I can go over sort of different teams in Kakao. So we've got in the office, we have the GM team, we have the CM team, we have the project managers that have the most sort of connection with PA, and they go through together, giving the feedback of what we've given our project managers through either our tickets from the GM side, and of course from my side and SNS team with my team members going over the discords and stuff, and we relay that feedback as well. The CMs, of course, a lot of feedback comes from them, and then of course the project managers work with project managers in a PA, and a lot on that side. And then we have our own, of course, developer teams, but that our developer team isn't the developers of the game. That's works on, like, say, our tools and stuff and our side of things, not the game side.
website
And then
stuff.
yeah. And then of course we have marketing and PR, and of course every company has HR, so just the classic business stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of like that kind of structure in our office at the moment. Of course, we're all working from home, so it's a bit different now in terms of the overall feel of it. But yeah, there's obviously like a difference between a developer and a publisher. But obviously, we do work together as best as we can for our players.
Yeah, so a lot of people, whenever there's a Kakao stream, the chat is always filled with, when is this coming out? When are you buffing this? When are you nerfing this? Do you want to say like a list of things that you can and cannot do for all those people that want to, like, what can you do as a GM to to the player base?
I mean, the GMs, like I mentioned, is primarily support, right? It is, at its crux, the support where players would send issues through the ticket system, and then we'd help them as much as possible. That is pretty much my job and role. So knowing when, all this future content's coming up, that isn't the GMs at all. We tend to, know like very small stuff just a bit before it comes out on our side of the server, so on our server. But that's just to prepare, so we, like, for when I have my policy council meeting, we look over that week's of patch notes, right, on that Wednesday, and with like, okay, what potential issues might arrive? What can we help the players with? So it's not like, oh, when is, that content that's going to happen in however many months away or whatever. It's not that at all. Not from the GMs at least. So yeah, it's in terms of when it comes to the stream side and we have those questions, we normally gather as much feedback as possible. Basically, that's what we do with the stream. And for me personally, with the stream, I want to try and give back as much as possible in terms of creating events which are stream side and giving out rewards. That's kind of what I wanted to build with the stream. And whenever we do get, some hints of new content or something that we can stream, and that is new content, then we are given that, and then we'll be able to stream it when we can. It's what we tried doing with the Hashashin, with sort of, before it was released, we went on the Hashashin. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff with the GM side. It's pretty simple, really. We are support, and we basically try to, we do our own events as well. We create events, so we try to create content at least on our side with what we're able to do to basically give something enjoyable to the community where they can, gain some rewards and have some fun. Yeah, that's pretty much like the fundamental part of a GM's role.
Mm-hmm. So you're not holding content back. It's everything is decided by PA pretty much.
It's PA and, well, Kakao together. They basically work it together, but it's not the GMs that decide. I guess is maybe what you're asking. But there is involvement from both parties, right? They work together. They're two companies working together to try and give what's best for the player base, or work when it's best for the player base. So yeah, it's involvement both sides, and they work together to regarding it.
So you mentioned that you are doing events. You also yourself you were involved in some of the last events. I'm specifically referring to the Tuvala tournament and the Arsha PvP event, who went both for UNNA. Do you want to talk about those experiences? How do you think they went?
Yeah, so there are events that come from different sides or different parts within the company. So we have our own events task force as well. So that is another task force that I forgot to mention, that basically works on an event. So we would then plan it, and then we would then get permission on our side, and then as well as PA side, with the specs, and see if it's all ready to go and stuff. So yeah, in terms of stuff that we've done recently, the GMs had a primary involvement in the Tuvala tournament. It's something that I really wanted to push as well, a PvP player. I love that stuff. I loved watching it in TwitchCon as well. I had a lot of involvement in that and trying to bring the best I could with it. There was obviously quite a few issues with it that we tried to fix as we went along. And I think over time it got better from the responses from the community. And obviously I tried to get as much feedback as I possibly could from you guys as streamers in a podcast afterwards. We have a lot of involvement in that. on that side. And with the Arsha leaderboard, that was primarily PM Horizon had a lot of involvement. He was pretty much the person that made it, and I was helping along with player knowledge, I guess, or just as a player, kind of what rewards would be wanting, or sort of suggestions like that. Maybe how the points may scale, or that kind of stuff. I had a lot of involvement, just basically giving feedback, and that's pretty much the side it was. I was trying to get a lot of stuff there that was basically maybe what the players would want with that side.
Quite a few people were not super happy with the rewards.
Yeah, it was so. At first, it was, I think, the first rewards. So the first place rewards got like the attack speed stone or a movement. I don't think it was a movement speed stone, but they were kind of flipped. I personally wanted them the other way around. You know, AP or DP at the start, just because I know. Well, I think even DP stone is actually, people much prefer that over AP at the moment. Obviously, depending on your class, but yeah, they were sort of like, yeah, the lowest sort of rewards, which was, I felt odd, but I think the reason behind it was because obviously you were getting the skins as first place, but I think it was then changed for the second one. But yeah, I know that a lot of people also wanted permanent skins and permanent titles and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, that's something I understand as well. I know we're getting a lot of feedback when it comes to, you know, event that gives those kind of rewards, asking why, you know, they're not permanent, which is something that I always give a lot of feedback regarding, because definitely something that when people do an event like that, or when they want to get the reward permanent, right? They want to have that thing to show off all the time, not something that is just there for 30 days and then it's gone. Yeah, no, we did understand that. We did get that. But yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. I think there wasn't many PvP sort of events like that before it. I can't really remember, other than tournaments. But in regards to the arena of the Arsha leaderboard, I
don't
can't
think
really.
so, yeah.
No. So it kind of was like maybe near enough the first one anyway. So of course there's got to be a lot of trial and error in terms of how we can make it work as best as possible for the players, making it enjoyable for them. And of course, you know, there's a lot of trial and error.
I think the
a lot of the time,
biggest issue for me was how the point system was
right.
balanced.
Yeah.
Because the first one, it literally had only people with no DP just going full AP. Illicit, trying to rat kills out.
Yeah, so a lot of the point scalings was often, we then reworked it for the next one. Obviously, the kind of fundamental idea was like, if you had more gear, we wanted to make it more difficult, right? Because you have that gear to be able to kill other players, right? So it'd be easier for you to kill other players, in theory. But of course, players are very imaginative in terms of how they we're really imaginative how we use our gear, and then they realize sort of like, okay, here's the points working. If I just, you know, put a dim magical armor with all this accuracy, low DP, and then I can have so much damage, I'll just keep dying over and over, but I'll be able to kill all these people with maximum efficiency. Of course, yeah, it's again, whole trial and error. We were able to see that. I think it was a lot better than next time we did it, because there was a lot of numbers that we tweaked. I went over that with PM Horizon, just going over, okay, this didn't work. We needed to maybe up this and that. And I think it did a lot better. There was a definite change. Like, you could definitely see those well-known players that were more geared actually appearing on the leaderboard, whilst before they weren't, because they weren't getting any points killing those people with like 0 DP and 300 plus AP. So yeah, it was pretty much one of the first times we ever did something like that. And we worked on it, and it got better the next time. I think, right? I mean, in terms of what I got on feedback, in terms of the point system, it was a lot better.
Yeah, personally, I feel like doing events is, even if they are not, let's say, successful or as successful as you would like it to be, I think it's better than not doing anything at all. Because there was a dark time, I think, in Kakao Games where the communication with the community was not like very. I guess it felt like there was, yeah, I guess there wasn't as much communication with the community.
Okay.
I mean, I personally link it with you joining the company, but I'm sure there's a lot of other great people doing a lot of work. It's not just you single-handedly saving the game. But it's been around that time that there's a lot more streams from Kakao. There's a lot more in-game events. It feels like there's a lot more communication.
So around that time...
Do you think something happened, or...?
So around that time that I was hired, because obviously myself, like before then, I wasn't even looking for the communication with Kakao or any of the GMs when I was a player, right? I just played the game for me. I was just playing it, enjoying it. So I never really looked into giving feedback or anything like that at that point. That was I was just a person that just played the game, right? And so like stepping into the role, I then wanted to do so many different things and trying to get so many different things done. At that time as well, I think like a few months before I joined, Good Vibes joined at that point. So that was another person who had a huge amount of sort of presence in the NA community. So on the NA office, there was a person that had been playing the game extensively like that, that's been in the community's eyes, streaming as well. He too streamed. He did BSL. He was, well, maybe somewhat similar to me. I guess I streamed on the EU side. I part of one of the biggest siege guilds and had a lot of connections in the community. And I think obviously at that point we both were so driven to push what we loved doing, and we both loved streaming and playing the game, and on the PvP side as well. And I'd probably say the biggest streamers, or the at the moment in the BDO category, are primarily PvP players. So a lot of opinions and voices that are there from the community are the PvP players, right? Especially the ones that are watching, just Real Some Names, Choice, yourself, Anfield, Namgoong, and Mac. There's so many, there's so many PvP players. Like I could keep going. I could go through the whole list. For me, as that kind of player, I try to bring more stuff for that kind of side of the community, because that's what I, loved about the game. And, there are GMs and CMs that aren't PvP players, but they're really heavily involved in other parts of the community, right? And there are other types of events like that. So me and Good Vibes at that point wanted to push more of that side of the community, Twitch side, PvP side, and that kind of points into the company. So on NA, Good Vibes started up their streaming again. Then I was pushing to start it up ourselves in EU, which we then did. I think we started almost a year ago now, actually. Basically doing monthly streams, because of course I still had my duties as a GM. So for me, I was being pulled everywhere in terms of times and stuff that I had to put in different slots. But yeah, I really wanted to push for the streaming, and I really wanted to push to bring the partners involved, because for me, I really wanted to give back to you guys. That was a huge driver for when I was setting up the stream in our office. I wanted to get you on this. I want you guys on the stream as much as possible, and we tested that. Hopefully, I've been trying to work on something at the moment. It's going to bring a lot of different kind of communities together in terms of an event/stream thing that I'm trying to do. So hopefully, that's going to be pushed. So that's a little, I guess, juicy thing. Hopefully, it gets sort of approved on our side. It's basically a stream event. It's going to be interesting. So I've been trying to work on that.
So there's more stuff coming out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, stream side. So it's basically, so teaser, it's RP with PvP, and life skilling is going to be involved, but it's going to be a lot of working together as a team to overcome obstacles for rewards. And it's going to be all on the streamers to be able to do it.
Okay.
So it's yeah. So basically, I've been trying to work on some stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much what I can say for now. It's hopefully going to be fun, but the community has to help you if they want the rewards as well. So that's a big thing to you guys listening. When it happens, you got to help them out. Got to go into their Twitch streams. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say before I spoil everything.
Okay.
We also help a lot with community-led events. We try to help more so in that rather than the events that we create ourselves. So with BSL and other tournaments before the one that we did, I'd be there in the office on whatever, God knows what time the event, the tournaments are on, and just basically being there to help people get into the, the actual managing the UI and stuff, and the actual Arena of Varsha. So we'd help out a lot with that and various different things, and memorial services as well for actual players that have passed away. We don't get involved in trying to push that's not really an event, but we're there to help them if any people try to maybe gate crash it or try to cause a ruckus or whatever. We just basically be there in the background to make sure it goes smoothly for them. And of course, weddings as well. Recently, there was one because they couldn't do it in real life because of COVID. So we just try to help out with community stuff as much as possible, sort of very background, us in the background, just basically being able to help them where they might not be able to do it themselves. Yeah.
Do you think you're making a positive impact in the game?
I guess I hope so now, thinking about it.
Okay.
Be it small. I mean, I hope I'm doing what I can to give back to the community. That's pretty much all I try to do and push for is that.
I want to ask you, you joined Kakao as a veteran player, I think it's safe to say, or a seasoned player. But maybe seasoned now has the wrong attributes to it. But let's stick with veteran. There is a lot of people that think that Kakao Games has the GMs, working at Kakao don't play the game. What was your impression entering the office and meeting all the GMs as a player?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start off with a funny story. I went into the office fully suited and booted. Being from England and the workplace environment there, I was in an office in full three-piece suit because you had to be smart. So that was me. I, walked into the office, full three-piece suit, and I got shot by a lot of Nerf guns from the whole entire GM team. And I was like, wow, okay.
You got shot.
Nerf guns. They all have Nerf guns on their desks. And as soon as I came in, bang, bang, and I was like, well, okay, this is it. This is the office. Right. And no one's wearing a suit. Okay, I'm going to go home now. I'll be right back. So yeah, that was an interesting first day. The environment there is great. I do love the office, and I miss it now even more with the whole COVID thing. But yeah, no, I guess that was always a meme. I mean, me coming in as a player. I mean, a lot of them have obviously BDO in the background running either some AFK tasks doing, on their own accounts. And that's the thing that I think, again, because I'm so involved in the PvP side of the community, which we all know is the minority. I think anyway. I think, there's a lot less PvP players in MMOs in general. That, there are just loads of different types of players. And of course, I think I'm the only GM that has, my sort of alias known, because from the stream side. Now, that was a thing. I was asked, like, what do you want your GM name to be? And I thought, well, if I'm going to be getting involved with the stream, people are going to know who I am anyway. So there's no point hiding it, because people are going to just try and investigate, and it'll just be weird trying to hide who I am, because people, they're like, oh, yeah, that's Endlaive. Used to watch a stream. So I thought, there's no point of that. I'll just use my name. Both being it good and bad, where the fact that I get emails, not emails, sorry, DMs on Discord at 3 a.m. or any time, asking for different things about different, questions on different topics and stuff, which,
Sorry about that.
don't mind. No, don't worry about it. I feel, I never really thought of any repercussions. I just thought, why not? Because I want to be heavily involved with the community, and this is probably the easiest way. People know who I am. Let's go for it. Yeah, I'll just use my alias now. And I remember at the time I was told, if you do that, we can't swap your account over to a different region if you're not enjoying the game anymore, because it has been known that people will try to hunt you down. And I was like, at the time, I was, full of files. Like, yeah, bring it on. I'm in a good, strong seed guild. I get, hunted down anyways. It's not going to change. And to be fair, like, I've always tried making a good impression on different players in the community, and I guess be nice and whatnot. So I never really had that. So appreciate you all. And it's been, it's just pleasant. I think on EU side, since a lot of the siege guilds have gone away and a lot of sort of the rivalry has died down a bit, it's just small groups and just some fun PvP now. So it's, I never had that problem. But yeah, back to your main question, I obviously come from a community like that, which is sort of known, and I am the only GM, I believe, that has their name known in the community. So of course people aren't going to be there, oh yeah, this GM's playing because I saw his account, right? They play in their own time, and yeah, there is a lot of GMs doing different stuff. It's just that they don't specifically prefer to play the PvP side, and that's also something that helped me, I guess, also with the job, because I have experience in that community and that side of the content.
All right, and I guess you already answered a bit of the next follow-up question that I wanted to ask. Okay. Is how is it being a GM and a player, and a known player? My personal assumption is that your whispers are flooded with people, with friends asking about restoring crystals and giving you RNG. Like, is it bad? Is it good? How do you feel about it?
So I actually don't get flooded that much. I think at the start I did, but I think people tend to realize that I couldn't do anything for them. A lot of the replies, if it was a question like that I was able to answer, and it's just like some information on, like, say, like a current patch, like they didn't understand, say, how an event worked, or why they didn't get a reward, or something, something really simple that they probably could have just looked on the main website for on the patch notes. Sometimes, I just stop and type a reply and, say thank you and move along. I try to answer those type of questions. But no, I never really got flooded. which again I appreciate you all for. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, it wasn't bad. I mean, obviously I had to stop streaming personally, so I guess that stops people knowing exactly when I'm online and tried to hunt me down. But even then, like even now, I still grind a lot on Arsh and still get like a lot of PvP and people doing a lot of activities. But I think no, people are quite respectful. Like you would, people might think differently, but generally, like I've not had at all any issues that I may have thought I may have had. So yeah, no, I appreciate everyone.
You also have a decent gear score. What's your gear right now?
Currently 650. I just finished Kafrasing my armors to C9 and heave to C19 and dim is C10, so I'm ready for whenever
Nice.
Dead/Fallen God comes out. So
Alright.
I'm looking forward to that. Full TED accessories, HP. So I actually went from Tungrat to HP. Yeah.
And like you have good gear and all of that. And I guess my question was, I think a lot of people might think that you might abuse your position as a GM to progress or to get advantage in the game. Do you have something to say to people that might think that?
Yeah, so I actually replied to this in to Choice's chat earlier on because obviously, like I said earlier, we as GMs don't actually have this forecast information that players think we do. With our job, we tend to get what is coming of that week. So let's say on Wednesday, we'll get that information just shortly before to then prepare for the tickets that we are going to answer for the issues that may arrive. Now, like there are some people that that will know, like some I think it might even be yourself. When a global lab patch hits, I get super excited. I'm checking there first.
I
Because
remember I was
that's
the
new
one
stuff.
linking you the Assassin trailer.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's something that also because you linked the Korean Hashashin trailer, which obviously at that time wasn't coming for our region. So we focus on what's on our region, and of course, like any other player, I'm waiting to see what is coming on KR. So in terms of like those little changes that might affect marketplace, whatever, people find that out at the same time as I do. Like, say if there's a changed prices on accessories, right? That was on KR. I hear that from my guild, or whenever I hear or look on global patch notes. That's when I find out about future patches personally as a GM. And that's the thing. It's my role doesn't doesn't give me any benefits whatsoever. I mean, there is no magic button that I just press and voila, I get full pen. But yeah, to answer your question, no, there are no
Okay.
secret buttons. My foreknowledge is as much as yours. I look to the global patch notes on Thursday/Friday or whenever it comes out all the time. And a lot of the time I'm linking it to people. It's like, oh, have you seen this? This is going to be amazing.
What's your day like at the office? What's your average day?
So, of course, it depends on different days. If it's Wednesday, obviously it's patch day. So there's a lot going on there. So maybe I can do one day that isn't patch day, one day that is. And what is patch day? So on like a different day, it'll be dependent on the meetings that I would have with the different task forces, like I said. So if I'm leading a meeting with my task force and maybe different Discord events that we can probably do, or different things like that, or if it's on policy, going over what's going to happen in the next couple of days when a patch releases. Of course, tickets. Then we have our assigned tickets that we have to do on, and all that kind of stuff. And then yeah, go for lunch and that kind of normal stuff. But yeah, it's either meetings or tickets, or if I've got, say, a stream to prep for, then I'd be going over with the team with that. What we're going to do for the next stream, different things like that. Yeah, so that's sort of like a normal day. It is some meetings. It's on the ticket queue, just trying to get it down as much as possible and get to people as soon as possible and try and help them out. Now, when it comes to Wednesday or Tuesday, depending on what day patch day is, so in the morning, I'd just be focusing on trying to work on the ticket queue that primarily focuses around asking for stuff that needs to be changed over maintenance. So you have, if there was a name change and it was wrong and we had to, change that, or character restoration, that kind of stuff. And then, I sort of update the Discord, making people aware when their servers are down and when you can start updating the patch and what the size of the patch is going to be. Also when it's live, and then I also update all the news, so I have all the links. I add a little pretty news post that also sends it all to the servers that are following us, like the different updates to the links to the different sort of events and patch notes and whatnot. But yeah, post Corona, it's all that, but at home.
Okay.
With me just getting out of bed, get a coffee on, and then just sit at the desk and then just try to do as much as possible. Yeah, it's the same thing, but just without the office vibe, which I really do like, especially with all the different teams and what they're all working on. It's really cool to be involved and also just have people around you, right?
Do you have any more funny stories about the office beside the gun violence?
So regarding a funny story
Okay.
with the but this is going with the tournament. So I look pretty smart on the camera. So I was wearing, like a tie, a shirt, and the oh my gosh, what's it called? We put on top of it is the waistcoat, with a waistcoat. So, but below, what you couldn't see were just basketball shorts. So I came into the camera magic, everyone, camera magic. So I came into the office looking like this, and people just turned around to look at me and just thought, "What are you wearing?" It's like, don't worry, guys, they can't see me on cam. They can only see their torso and up. So I thought, why not be comfortable whilst we're shoutcasting this tournament and just sit there in style?
And as a GM, what would you want people to know that are sending ticket? How do I get my crystals restored? What's the best way for you to actually answer my ticket? Not just for the crystal specific thing, but in general.
So I'd probably say some advice when making a ticket is being clear with what the problem is. If you have information on the issue, like as much as possible, then have that in there. But generally being clear in what you're saying, because of course, like you said earlier, that, some people might get a weird response is because, what might be clear for them in their sort of terms and language, right, might be different for what we're reading. Or they might have a completely different meaning and behind what they're trying to portray. So I would say just try to be clear in terms of the information that you're putting down. If you know that we're always looking to try and help people as much as possible. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think, is just being clear in what you're trying to say. I think that is the most important thing, I'd probably say. It's, we always look, if we want more information, then we have to then reply back to you, and then you might not see it and it takes a while for you to get back to us, that kind of thing. So having the information there at the start is super important.
You're saying that if I send the same request 5 times, it's not going to get solved faster? Damn.
No, not at all.
What are you looking forward the most about the future, both as a player and as a GM?
Well, I mean, Odalite is happening, so I'm very hyped personally as a player. I've taken some time off work, so
I shall good luck with your tickets.
They won't be answered by me for the first couple of weeks of that. And yeah, I mean, as a GM, I'm really looking forward to this event that I'm trying to build, and hopefully it's going to be exciting for people to get involved in, and as well as you guys as partners as well. That's pretty much like for me as a player. Everyone's always looking forward to the newest updates, but yeah, for me, I like the look of Odalita. I think group grind spots. Oh gosh, they started to do it more recently, and it's such a breath of fresh air, right? Being able to grind with your buddy, making gains, have a bit of PvP, group PvP. It's really nice to see. It's really reminiscent of when it was in the height of Gye-hyun days, right? The peak of Gye-hyun, and even earlier on when you group grinding pirates or sourcing. So, yeah, I'm really glad that a lot of stuff like that is getting touched on as a player. But yeah, as a GM, yeah, always looking forward to sort of the event ideas and trying to come up with the team and some of the stuff that we're trying to put out there.
Okay. What's the best way for the player base to actually relay feedback to Perlabis through you?
I mean, people are kind of already doing it, right? It's they relay information to you guys, you relay it to us. Our CMs then send in reports, and that's, like I said before, we are always relaying the information that we get. There's a feedback library as well, and like I know there was a few changes that were changed that was impacted through the feedback library. I guess like some people may think, oh, I'm not going to do it. Some people are already doing it. If something like the feedback library only gets like a few people putting their feedback in, or when they're going over the the different posts and stuff, then if only like a few people are doing it, it's not going to have the impact of, say, like a lot more, right? So yeah, I definitely say check out the feedback library on the Discord. It's pretty big, more than people would say. So forums and our Discord as well. Like for me, when I do my report, I get information from Reddit, forums, Discord, and this is just my side, right? And of course Twitch, because I try to be in as many different streams as possible with the community. But yeah, it's getting heard. Like we are putting the feedback there as much as we can. I guess it's the way you put the feedback. Just put it in. It's just a way that is going to be best sent, right? Not just fix this when. Sending that kind of feedback is not that helpful. Fix class when does not really give much in terms of information, insight, or feedback in general. I mean, I understand why people say fix this when or nerf X class when, and I totally understand that, but it's that kind of feedback is it's not really that helpful. But I understand why. Sometimes I'm like that, just off the cuff, just when I'm playing, it's like, oh, nerf this one. But it's when there's actual solid feedback, and this then gets portrayed well by different community members. We do our best to like collect it and send it. So all these different forms of placing it, in the forums, Discord, feedback library, on Twitch, it's all getting collected. It's we just do our best to relay that to PA.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make a post in the feedback library about CC resistance after our duels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even running CC resist in my. No, I'm not running. I'm not running them. I'm actually.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. Do you have any shout out and any final words for all the people watching?
Yeah, to all the guilds that have been a part of, big shout out to you guys, and shout out to the community that have been super nice with myself, and really respectful on that, and I appreciate you all. Yeah, no, keep up with the feedback, guys. Like, I'm in love with this game as much as you all are, and I'd love to see it grow and become what it could be. But yeah, no, thanks to you, dude, for given the opportunity. And yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thanks to you. Thanks for giving me your time. Thanks also to all the people at Kakao that gave permission for you to do this interview. It's
No problem.
super appreciated, and I do think that all this transparency and communication with the community is just gonna hopefully do well for you guys too.
Yeah, awesome. I hope it
Super
does.
appreciate it. Thanks for doing this. Have a nice day, beautiful evening, and see ya in game, I suppose.
Yeah, see you soon, dude.
Bye.